All right.
All
If
right, are
you're
we back?
joining us back, we should be back. Sorry about that, folks. Internet situation. You know how it is when you're doing live TV. But Dr. Paul just shared that that's what happens when we start to dabble into gun control as Adventists. So we're gonna we're gonna we're gonna move on. But Jeff, you were sharing with us your take on that question, and Pastor Paul, maybe you want to restate just a synopsis so we can
Yeah,
catch up with it.
yeah, I'll go ahead and restate it. And I know our audience is finding their way back on right now, so we'll give them just a tad. Just a few seconds here to get back. But just to restate that for you, Jeff, we've seen so many instances over the last few weeks, and this year up to 230 mass shootings. And I believe that the definition of a mass shooting is where four or more people have either been killed or shot. And I think that's what defines a mass shooting. And you correct me if I'm wrong. But we've seen over 200 or close to 230 of those this calendar year in the United States. The ones that have made the news, but what do we say? Buffalo, Irvine, California, with the church, the Asian church there, the school, the kids in Texas. We saw one just the other, was it a doctor's office in Tulsa, Oklahoma? We saw another church shooting on Thursday in Iowa. These things just keep on happening. And so the question is, um, what are some of the debates or some of the perspectives, the arguments that people are using in the gun debates? And we assume that because both of you are in fields where these conversations are more of your daily work and what you come across in a daily, we're very curious to know what are some of the perspectives that you have seen when it comes to gun control, gun debates, whether they be political, whether they be in the safety realm. Just share with us just a little bit of what you guys are hearing are some of the issues involved in these debates.
Jay, you want to take this? You want to lead on this, Jay? Because my perspective, I would respectfully let me hold mine until I hear Jay's perspective respectfully.
Okay. And what happens is, you always defer to wisdom and experience. So I'm definitely deferring. One of the things I'll say is this. We talk about this great document that was drafted in the 1700s, right? And this document that speaks to setting up a country framework for a country that was trying to establish and get themselves going, if you will. And one of the issues that they had at the time was there were some Federalists and there were some anti-Federalists, and they felt as though, the government's going to take too much control. And so one of the things that they were able to do to try and make sure they get this document ratified and accepted was to offer this Bill of Rights. And as a part of that Bill of Rights, we have our First Amendment, which everyone typically kind of runs off, and those things are kind of ingrained as part of our learning. And we have the Second Amendment, which has become a big topic, not just now, but it's been for the last few years, right? From Sandy Hook, and it kind of started rolling from that standpoint. We often use these words like Second Amendment without actually spending time going through what that amendment really says and its in totality, and also what the basis was for having that in place. And we talk about the Revolutionary War and having militias set up and having individuals arm themselves so they could protect society in that regard. My issue is we talk about gun control, and you've always seen the bumper stickers, right? Guns don't kill people, people kill people, right? And so that's something that kind of sits there. Recently, this week, there was an interview with a Canadian official, and Canada has just passed one of the most stringent gun laws as far as restricting the purchase and use of guns. And part of the rationale was, number one, the gun violence in Canada, but literally officially on the record was we don't want to become like our neighbors in the South. And I thought it was
Wow.
interesting and somewhat daunting to see that a country, a nation sitting above us and looking down and saying, we don't want to become like them.
Mm.
I'll say this, and I'm going to defer back to my dear friend, Officer Jeff Hunt. I left my home yesterday, and as I left my home, there was this red, obscure looking shaped sign at the end of the street. And so I applied the brakes in my car and came to a halt. I turned right and I saw another sign, and it was an obscure looking yellow and black sign. These signs had words on them: stop, children at play. And there was also a traffic light as I went further down, and I had to wait for the turn closed before I could go where I needed to go. And one of the things that's interesting to me is we have these signs, we have these